Well, good morning once again. This is Joanne Marime. In case you're joining me for the first time, I'm a career and confidence coach based out of the United States here in Texas. Um, but I am originally from Kenya. So, welcome to my channel today. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about my goals for this year and my journey that has gotten me all the way here. Um, so, back in 2017, I moved to the United States, and I just want to say that my dream did not start there. I started dreaming about coming to the United States probably 10 years earlier. And I want to say that this was all credit to my sister, my big sister, who had already moved and really was seeing how much I was struggling back at home. And she inspired me to start dreaming higher and better. So, big ups, big sister. I really love you so much. Anyway, moving on. So it took me 10 years, the whole of my 20s. So from the moment I hit 20 years old all the way until I hit 30 is when I was able to step into the United States for the first time. And I want to say throughout that 10-year journey, now I look back on what I was going through then and I see God preparing me every step of the way. But trust me, when I was going through it, I thought I was cursed. I thought God had forgotten about me. I thought, oh my God, why is it that when I look at all my peers, I look at my friends, I look at the people that I graduated with, everybody's life seemed to be on an upward trajectory, but mine was on a downward trajectory, or so I thought. And so I worked all sorts of jobs. And when I say I worked all sorts of jobs, I mean it. I worked from being in a nonprofit, all the way from banking. I even worked in a slum. And if you're aware or if you've ever been to Nairobi, you know that we have some of the biggest slums in East Africa and actually in the world. And so I worked in Dandora, which is considered one of the most dangerous places to live in. And by the way, nothing ever happened to me. So I think that's a fallacy. I believe that anybody can rise from anywhere. And if God took me from that slum, from working in there to where I am today, where I can stand here and be able to help other people with the knowledge that I've gathered because of my experiences, then if you are that person that is seated in a slum somewhere today and wondering, God, you forgot about me. God, my life is over. No, your life is just beginning. So I see myself in those days when I look back and I see myself learning so much. I learned resilience. I learned to be grateful for the little that I had. I remember I started earning $80, what is the equivalent of 8,000 Kenya shillings a month. When I look back on that now, I wonder, how did I make it through there? And when I worked for these nonprofits, I used to earn the highest I earned at that point for a while was $300 per month, which is 30,000 Kenyan shillings. I look back on those moments and I still see myself having fun, contributing to all the fundraisings and everything that I needed to charity, helping so many people. And I wonder, how did that happen? I remember being let go from many positions. Every time I hit a 2-year mark, God would move me. So moving me meant pushing me out of the nest. So God used to make sure that the job would end at exactly the 2-year mark. And trust me, that was painful because you can imagine the fear of wondering, I don't know where the next money is gonna come from. I don't know. Jobs in Kenya are really difficult to find. What is gonna happen to me? Oh my God. But guess what? When God says in his word that he will give you grace for every single day, he gives you grace for one day. He doesn't give you grace for 10 days. He'll, just the same way the Israelites had to expect manna every day, we have to expect God to give us that grace for just that day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has worries of its own, and God already knows that he has the grace for you. But he will not give you the grace for tomorrow today. He will give it to you tomorrow. So for today, wherever you are, I hope that I'm inspiring you just a little bit to know that God will turn your situation around. Maybe you are in a boot camp, because I was in a boot camp for 10 years. I was in a boot camp for a good 10 years. And if now I know that had I come in to this country any earlier, I would have messed up. I would not have been ready for what God was trying to bring out of me. I would not have been patient enough. I would not have been focused enough. I would not have just been, first of all, I wouldn't have trusted God as much. Because trust me, the journey, when I got here, it did not mean that everything just opened. I had to trust God all over again. I came to this country with $20 to my name. I left everything that I knew, my family, my friends, everything. And I remember on my journey, because it takes about almost 30 hours to get here to the States, I had to eat something. So out of that $20, I probably spent $16. So when I was landing in JFK, I had about $5 to my name. Now, fast forward 6 years down the line, look at what God has done. God turned that little seed of faith, that $5 that I walked into in this country, to something that has multiplied a million times over. I'm now able to say I'm a very successful career and confidence coach. I work in technology. I've worked in 3 of the biggest companies across the world, across the globe, not even the top 500. I'm talking about the top 10. And I give all glory and honor to God. And all I'm going to say is this: to inspire you today, wherever you are, what should you be doing? Do what God told you to do last. So if you're working in that slum today, if you're helping, whatever it is that you're doing today, do it to the best of your ability, because I can tell you I have always done it to the best of my ability. Despite all the no's, I picked myself up and I said, okay, God, I'm going to try it another day. It does not mean that I did not cry. I cried a lot. I cried many, many times. There were many times I was homeless. I stayed in my brother's house on the couch for about 2 years, wondering, waking up and working in the slum and wondering, God, where did I go wrong? But you know what? God has vindicated me. God has, if you look at me, you can never believe the things that I've been through. And as we keep on sharing with each other, I will share more and more about my story, because I also will want to share about the journey to getting to this country. I will want to share, of course, how did I decide that I wanted to become a career and confidence coach and help people with that? Because I was never this confident person. It's taken a lot of refining. It's taken a lot of coaching. It's taken a lot of mentoring. It takes me a lot of prayer every day to wake up and be that soldier for God, and be that soldier that knows that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And yes, so as we walk into February, have you written your goals down? Do you know what you want to achieve this month? You need to write down what you want to achieve. You need to plan your week. You need to have a routine. For me personally, it's very difficult for me to accomplish a lot without a routine. So I figured that out a while ago. So when I fall out of my routine, I can tell that I feel weird. I feel a little, I just don't accomplish as much, and I feel like I'm wasting a lot of my time. And trust me, because now I've learned to plan out my weeks, I get more time to rest, I get more time to spend time with friends, I get more time to work, I get more time to give to my business, I get more time to give to my family. So I'm gonna inspire you wherever you are today. Get a mentor, get a coach. If you can afford one, there's free resources everywhere. YouTube TV is a university. You can get all sorts of information there without ever having to pay a single cent. Wherever part of the world you are in, I believe that you can afford to buy. If you can afford to get internet on your phone and scroll endlessly, then you can be able to afford to make sure that as you're scrolling, you're listening to podcasts, you're looking at mentors, you're looking at all the stuff that there's a lot of content that's out there. And trust me, I listen to a lot of different people because I know that they've gone before me and they're providing all these lessons for free. Stuff that our parents never had, stuff that generations to come will benefit way more than we have, because we've had to stumble through life wondering how to figure it out. But these people have figured out how to hack some of these things. Look at the Ronaldos of this world. They're forever saying, you have to put in work, you have to be consistent. Nothing comes in easy. It's not about doing a lot of things great once, it's about doing a few things consistently. So figure out what your two things are that you want to crush this month. For me, this month, I want to keep on being consistent in working out. I want to be consistent with my business. I want to be consistent at work. I want to show up at work like I've never shown up before. And those are my three things. What do you want to do? Then write it down and just start today, because you just started in February. We still have 11 months to go. I want you to look at the end of the year and say, oh my gosh, I have accomplished way more than I've ever accomplished before, simply because I decided to do it differently and to put actions behind my words. And today somebody said something profound when I was reading the Bible this morning. And I spend a lot of time with God before I ever show my face to anybody, because I know without him, none of this is possible. So he said this: God's timing is the best. And know this, that if God's timing has not arrived, no force in the world will make things move. But if it's God's timing, and when he says yes, no force in the world can stop it. So just know that whatever you prayed for, God heard you, and it's only a matter of time. And as you prayed, I hope you prayed aligning with his word. Because if you're praying for somebody to die or be killed, that's not going to happen, because that's not what God's word says. But if you're praying for life, if you're forgiving those people that have wronged you, if you are forever following what God says, which is love your enemies, not just your family, do that. Because no matter how badly people have hurt you, I promise you, God is your vindicator. When he's going to avenge you, it's going to be way better than anything you could have ever imagined. So stop thinking about avenging anything. Forgive that person, because forgiveness is for you. So what I do every day is I forgive. If somebody makes whatever they do to me, I forgive them. And by the way, that does not mean I condone it. It means I forgive them and release myself from the prison of anger that I might place myself in if I don't let go. And once I let go, I let God. And trust me, when I look back at all the things that have happened, it is a miracle just how happy I am and just how settled I am. And even throughout all my challenges, and trust me, they come every day, I can go back onto the word of God and say, God says he will never leave me. He will never forsake me. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you, because he is no respecter of persons. So as you go out today and into February, step out like the champion that you are. Because guess what? You are loved. And most importantly, you can do all things. So go ahead, do it. Have a great Tuesday. Okay, bye.